Welcome to the Mix Experience. Here again with Patrick.
How's it going, guys? Welcome.
Good times, good times. So, how was your day today?
That's pretty good, man. Got a little workout in, did some networking with a couple people online, and excited to be back here on Spotify and YouTube, the pod.
All right. Yeah, for you guys out there, we will have some new podcasts coming up with some new guests and other people out there. So, if y'all just tune in and stay tuned in, we'll have some more content coming up.
Absolutely.
So today, I guess what I want to talk about is, you know, how we hear a lot about the pyramids and stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
And people always wonder how they're built, and everybody speculates on how they're built. I mean, what's your opinion on that?
So, in my personal opinion, this is based on facts, but back then they had advanced technology that we are not aware of. Now, I do believe there was some really hard work done, by the humans, but the Anunnaki that ran, rampant, and they were royalty giants during these times. If you're not familiar with Anunnaki, do some homework. It's a rabbit hole that never ends. It can be fun at times, but in short, guys, the Anunnaki, they were some big beings. They were into DNA splicing. That's where the house cat originated from, technically. So they domesticated a cat, possibly with some type of reptilian. That's when they have the reptilian eyes. But it's neither here or there. When it comes to the structures, I still believe that they had like the pulley systems. They had brick and mortar construction, but what I mean in an archaeological standpoint is the structures, they had a blueprint, just like today when they got a building, they 6-7 months ahead. They were very aware of what they were constructing, but not just constructing a structure, but it had a purpose. Everything, every cut, every tunnel, everything had a purpose, from energy to frequencies, the strength, the healing, the sleep. It was just endless.
Yeah, and for you people out there that don't know, I come from a background of I worked in a rock quarry for over 10 years, 12 years, somewhere.
Some hard work.
So, we move rock every day with huge machines. And just to see some of those stones that they moved, it's incredible how these stones are huge. And the machinery we had wouldn't move it. Wouldn't even have a chance moving some of those stuff.
Yeah, there's a picture of you and Joseph, our brother, standing in front of this tire, and I remember I was about 14 years old first time I saw this picture, and you guys look like little Lego men standing next to these.
Yeah, and these are 100-ton trucks, and 100 tons mean it carries 100 tons of rock. Okay, but some of these monoliths and stuff they had was amazing. How they could even stand those things upright, and some of these statues they built were crazy. How big they were, and and I think that's one of the biggest mysteries is how are they moving these rocks?
Well, a good example is Stonehenge, and it's out in the middle of nowhere. So, first of all, where did the rock come from? Second question is, how were they structured in a way that basically tells time, seasons, astrological events? It's amazing the technology that was used just by nature. So, in my opinion, I feel like that they had some type of device or giant beings that had this type of strength where they were able to pick these items up.
Yeah, it was something. I mean, you know, they they just didn't get those, just out of the. I mean, it just didn't come out of the air. They got them from somewhere. So
That's an interesting point. You talk about aliens, you talk about fallen angels, you talk about the Anunnaki. All these beings, are intertwined, intergalactic, intergalactical related. In a sense of, at some point, all these beings have been around on Earth, and they've made their mark and their presence known. And what their relationship is with the Almighty Creator, we can only speculate. I know that there is a group of fallen angels who rebelled against God that is very well documented. And these beings, they're forever banned from heaven.
Yeah.
So, of course, they're frustrated and upset. I mean, if you ever, experienced a heartbreak and you didn't want that relationship ever in, you can kind of relate to them in a sense of, wow, this is a change of the guard, and this is for the rest of my life. I got to be without this person. And, when you leave a presence like God, I mean, I can only imagine, that's the end all be all.
yeah, and back in those days they had many gods. They worshiped a lot of different things, and they worshiped the sun.
Yeah, the sun god, there was Pegasus, there was Zeus. I mean, there's a mythological list out there, just amazing. I think the one that I particularly is interested in is Hercules, and probably the most scary one is Medusa.
Oh yeah,
She seduced. Who did she seduce?
I'm not totally for sure, but
She had one of those strongmen seduced, and she ended up decapitating him.
she was definitely a succubus.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, there's got to be a logic reason to how things were done back then. It's just that technology is lost through history, and where I think a great disservice was when the Library what's it called? Library of Alexandria
Yeah, the Library of Alexandria
was burned, and it had all those.
had a lot of hidden knowledge. And the Vatican now has a huge archive where it's believed that it's actually guarded by a fallen angel, a celestial being, where only certain individuals are qualified to even go in there. Like someone like me or you try to go in there, and we would die instantly.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful. Some of those legends. So I don't know. I mean, I kind of figured if they had all kinds of ways to deceive the public back then too. Where like ancient Rome, they had a lot of these tricks that they would do to kind of like a magic trick type stuff.
Oh yeah, magic spells, to kind of brainwash everyone and believe in a certain way. That's been going on for centuries.
And I think that America could take a lot from what happened in Rome. Is Rome wasn't conquered; Rome fell from within.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, and I think everyone has to remember that. Where it starts from the top, and and then the people on the bottom, everyone suffers. So.
Yeah, I mean, the rich get richer and the poor gets poorer, and it's not just about the money or the power. It's, there's a lot of indwelling elements that go into being in such a higher ranking position. And, what I'm referring to is there's been like this awakening recently with our conscious. We're aware of vibing. You vibe with certain people.
Yeah.
There's these frequencies, and you can speak life into your water. You can pray over your food. And we've been doing that for years, and we really didn't know why, but what you're doing is you're basically speaking life that you have it within yourself to nurture and show results that you want. So something personally I have done, and I do, I'd say it weekly, not daily, because I'm not sure if there's some type of limitation on it, but I encourage everyone to, next time you get a big bottle of water, I'm talking about good water, nice spring water, whatever you got going on in your head or you got a question, speak it into the water and drink it, and you got to really in your conscious know that you're expecting it to really happen. So, doubting, I think, is a tool of the devil, along with anxiety. I'm not saying those that have experienced, any type of trauma, they're exempt from this, but I'm speaking in general terms. So in general, anxiety, depression, things like that, is tools of the devil to keep your vibration and your frequency down so that you don't have motivation to succeed. You don't believe in yourself. You have insecurities. And, you got to rise above that and understand that there is a light source above us that is accessed 24/7.
Yeah, and too, like they say, you can't count on anyone other than God, and that's who you need to lean on when you're in hard times and stuff, because He will bring you through it. But on the other hand, too, you got to be conscious of yourself. You just can't lay in pity and expect God to pick you up and say, well, this is, we're going to pull you, I'm going to take you out of this if you don't even try. I mean, you have to try and you have to get up and, and it is mindset.
It is. It's a mindset. That's a great point, Josh. And I won't go as long-winded on this one, but
That's fine.
the mindset is so important with any aspect in life. If no matter what you go through, the way you respond to an event that is stressful is going to be, there's a better outcome on the other end the more you accept it and you believe that this is a temporary situation and things are going to get better. I'm not saying you're not allowed to be upset. I'm not saying you're not allowed to be hurt. Go home and lick your wounds. Spend an evening, recovering. But get up the next day, brush it off, and say, you know what? I'm going to speak in this water. We're going to move on, and watch how different your life becomes.
And too, just remember, every action has a reaction. So whether you're reacting to someone's action or your actions are causing someone else to react, you have to, kind of have the mindset of, where it's going to go and what's going to happen. So and you can use that all throughout, life where, okay, it could be in good situations or bad situations. So, your actions where you tell someone you love them, they tell you, their reaction is, I love you too. That's a good reaction, but it can go both ways. And, I hate you.
Might go sideways.
Well, I hate you too, So
it goes sideways. You definitely don't want to fight fire with fire or hate with hate.
Yeah.
If possible. I'm not saying don't stand up for yourself, but don't be a bully either.
Yeah, and if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. You know, but
An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth.
yeah, but forgiveness too goes a long ways. You know,
Me personally, as far as, being forgiving, you know, I consider myself lucky in a lot of aspects of people close to me. They've been very good to me, including you, Josh. I really appreciate that.
yeah,
But when it comes to relationships and past experiences, like when I dealt with injuries and surgeries, like when I had a paycheck going, I was the king, of my household. But the moment I had to take a break from work and, have my back surgery or my ankle surgery, like so many people, especially those that, I was even married to at one time, just disappeared, like just didn't understand it at all. So I want to say something, and this might rub somebody the wrong way, but I personally don't care. If you're with someone and you're using them, you need to let them know. And if you're not planning on if you're enjoying the good times and not planning on being there for the bad, I can tell you from experience that, you will pay for that. Karma will come back and get you because I have personally experienced it several times.
yeah, I agree. So, you have to think about karma because in a lot of cases, if you do people wrong, in a lot of cases it does come back and haunt you. And two, when somebody does you wrong, it's vice versa. It's gonna catch up with them sooner or later. So sometimes you might feel like you're being treated terrible, and probably in a lot of cases you are. But just keep in mind that, those are temporary solutions, situations if you want them to be. You don't have to live in it for the rest of your life. Sometimes people feel like they're trapped, and just remember, it's God always gives you an out somewhere if you're looking.
Exactly. And, to kind of piggyback off what I just said about, being there for someone, if you really care and love someone and you're scared on what the result's going to be, that's when your faith is being tested. And I promise you, if you put it in your faith in God and you come out on the other end, you're going to have a better bond with your significant other than you could ever imagine because we all are designed to go through stressful things. Think about a diamond. A diamond isn't just found. A diamond has to be pressurized. It goes through hundreds and thousands of pressure.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes years and years and years to become a diamond. It's not instant gratification like we prefer. We're all guilty of that by nature. But, what I've learned and what you can read throughout the Bible and the history, and it goes back to the Egyptians as well, is, they say Rome wasn't built overnight. It took them years to get that all together. And just like the United States, it's a long-term investment for a better future. And to those that you build with, you have such a lifelong bond that it becomes unbreakable.
And so you just keep in mind, usually if it comes easy, it's not worth it, So
Absolutely.
The hard work you put into achieving something gives you a sense of accomplishment, and it also makes you appreciate things a lot more. That's just like if you buy a car, and like if you go buy a new car or a used car or whatever, and you pay it off, that's an accomplishment, and it makes you feel good, and you want to take care of that vehicle because you know how hard it was to pay it off. Same thing with anything in life. It's whatever you work at, you're going to put your time and energy into it, you know, that's what's going to make it worth it than, you know, just something that's handed to you. Excuse me.
And you said it right there. It's energy. So the energy that you put forth in anything in life is going to be the result and reflection of yourself.
True. Well, this has been a great podcast. Thanks, Patrick, for coming over, and I appreciate you for being here. And
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Wilkes Meat Market in Ball Ground, Georgia. They, old man Wilkes has got a saying: if he can't get it, you don't need it.
Oh, yeah. That sounds good to me. All right. Well, thank you, Wilkes. We give you a cheer,
Wilkes Meat Market, 369 Matt Highway.
and we think you're
Awesome!
Until then, we'll see y'all on the next podcast.
Hi guys,
And-
come join us.
We appreciate y'all joining in, and like and subscribe on YouTube, and you can catch us on Spotify, The Mixed Experience. And
Experience.
you can catch us on YouTube under Joshua Gaines, The Mixed Experience.
Don't worry about it.
And don't worry about it. We love y'all. Stay tuned. We'll have more episodes coming up.
Stay tuned, guys. Oh.